Today we will consider an example where a manufacturer must decide whether to scrap or rework defective units. Ellison Enterprises has 10,000 defective units of a product that costs them $30 per unit to manufacture. These defective units are not totally worthless and can still be sold for $20 each. Alternatively, the units can be reworked, which will cost the company $40 per unit, which will allow them to sell the units for $80 each. If Ellison Enterprises decides to rework the units, they will have to forego the opportunity to produce 10,000 new units, which will have an $80 selling price and a $50 cost per unit. The question is, should Ellison Enterprises sell the units as scrap or rework them first before selling them? Let's compare the costs and revenues of each situation. If the company decides to scrap the units, they will still be able to sell them for $20 each. But if they rework the units, they will be able to sell them for $80 each. So it appears that the company will have a lot more revenue if they rework the units. But don't forget there is that $40 rework cost, which will end up eating some of the profits. And on top of that, if the company decides to rework the units, they won't have the opportunity to produce 10,000 new units, which they can make $30 each on, found by taking the $80 selling price and subtracting the $50 cost per unit. This is $30 in profit per unit that the company won't have under the rework scenario, but will have under the scrap scenario. We classify this as an opportunity cost of income foregone by making the decision to rework the units. An opportunity cost is whatever has been given up when one course of action is taken. In this case, reworking means giving up the $30 profit per unit on producing and selling 10,000 new units. So, under the scrap scenario, the incremental income is the $20 that the units are sold for. Under the rework scenario, the incremental income is the sales of $80 per unit minus the rework and opportunity cost of $40 and $30, which equals $10. The difference between the two income amounts is $20 minus $10, which equals $10. Multiplying by the 10,000 units, we get $100,000 more income that would be earned under the scrap scenario. Now, I want you to notice that we never ended up using the $30 cost to manufacture the defective units. That's because it's a historical cost, often called a sunk cost, that the company can't get rid of. The sunk cost of $30 per unit stays with the company regardless of if they scrap or rework the units, so it's irrelevant for decision-making purposes. Alright, that completes our example considering if a manufacturer should scrap or rework their defective units.